I want to show you guys how to make CharCloth. And CharCloth was used by the mountain men a lot when they would do their wanderings and have to make their fire at night. They would do it with a flint and steel fire. And so they needed CharCloth. You can make CharCloth out of any cotton material, you know, an old t-shirt, an old pair of jeans, any type of cotton material works real good for CharCloth. I like to use muslin. This here is muslin. Now, if you're like me and you don't know much about materials, all that stuff, just go down to your fabric store and walk up to the lady behind the counter and say, you know, I need some muslin, and they're more than happy to help you find it. They know exactly what you're after. But I'll take muslin and I'll cut it up into little squares like these. And then what you need is a good hot fire. We got a pretty good fire there. And then you need a can. And I'll take a can and throw them in there. Now it's good to kind of separate those when you put them in there. If they're smashed together, then they tend to stick together when they're actually made in a CharCloth. What we're trying to do is we're going to actually burn these, but we're going to starve it for oxygen as we burn it. And so we need a can. This is an old paint can, and then you're going to poke some holes in the top. And you know, I wouldn't do any more than this because you may end up letting in too much oxygen. But you know, there's no real science. I just poke some holes in the top. And what we're going to do is we'll close this up. We're going to put it in the hot fire. And so I'll go ahead and set this in here. And whoops. What we'll find is that this thing will start to smoke. And then the smoke will turn into flame. And then the flames will go for a while. And then then they'll go ahead and cool off, get back in the smoke, and then the smoke will quit. And at that point, we have CharCloth. There's, we got fire there off the bat. Forgot our smoke, didn't we? And at that point, we have CharCloth. And then you can take it out and use it at that point, but it really tends to be crispy. And also, it doesn't catch the spark quite as well as if you leave it in just a little bit longer than that. If you have it just a little longer, then when the flame and the last smoke quits. And then I usually leave, you know, 45 seconds to a minute. I kind of guess that. I don't time it. And then ends up making a more flexible CharCloth, and also catches the spark a little better. And you got to have a hot fire. If it's not hot, then you can make CharCloth, but it won't catch a spark. You can drop sparks on it. It just doesn't really work. And so we need a good hot fire. And if you get it hot enough, it'll actually turn that can red. And that works really well and quick. Now this one we probably won't get that can red. It might be red on the bottom. But if you can turn it red, then it works really quick. And right now it's burning, but it doesn't have a lot of oxygen. If it had a lot of oxygen, then it would burn right up, and we don't want it to do that. We just want to char. Let's see, the flames are starting to slow down now. And we got enough coals there that the smoke might still go ahead and burn, which it's going to do. A lot of times you'll see smoke right there at the last end. And so I'm going to kind of watch this a little here. See, we're all done right now, even with the smoke. So I leave it in there just a little longer, and that helps make it flexible, plus it helps it to catch the spark a little better. And so, again, I don't really time it, but I give it a little bit, and then I go ahead and pull it out, and then we got it. Now, when I pull this out, we have to let it cool off. You don't want to open it right away, because if you open it right away, I did this once, and I'm talking by experience. I'm going to go ahead and roll this out of here now. And if you let it go, if you open that right now, what would happen is that you open it up, all of a sudden your CharCloth will start glowing, just like as if you hit it with a spark. And I did that once and slapped it back on there, but it was too late. I let oxygen in there, all burned up, and I had to start over again. So we're going to let that cool down until I can actually touch the can. When I touch the can, then we'll go ahead and open it, and we'll show you our CharCloth. Okay, our can is cooled off now. I let it cool off enough to where I can hang on to it. We'll go ahead and open it up. Here's our CharCloth. Turned out pretty good. We got some flexible CharCloth here that doesn't crack and break real easy. I mean, it still will, but it's not near as crispy as what it would be if you pull it out right away. And then when it gets that sheer kind of look through it, then that really works real well to catch a spark. So there's our CharCloth. Go over to our flint and steel section and see how we can use that stuff. So CharCloth.